Hello, my name is Tony and I'm a Life Scout at Troop 4056. My Eagle Scout project is to help promote wheelchair fencing programs within fencing clubs. I've been fencing with wheelchair fencers for about 5 years now, and I've noticed there's a severe lack of wheelchair fencing programs in the U.S. This video is part of a series that will give expertise and resources to help fencing club owners make their own wheelchair fencing program. As an able-bodied fencer, I've benefited greatly from fencing with wheelchair fencers, and I encourage everyone to support Paralympic and integrated programs within the community. Thank you again for supporting wheelchair fencing.
My name is Curt Oswalt. I was previously in the United States Air Force, airborne linguist. I just flew in the air, did my job. That's pretty much all I can tell you about that. I was injured over in Iraq. Can't go into a lot of details, but I went through 2.5 years of physical therapy, learning how to use my arms and hands again. When the VA let me out, I could do that with both hands. I could not touch my fingers together, couldn't do this. I could not use my arms, basically. I was in a wheelchair, and my wife or my children or someone else would have to push me. And the VA said, get used to it. And it was pure happenstance. I went back to college, and it was a college where Vinnie Bradford, an Olympian, was coaching fencing. And I bumped into her when I was signing up for classes. She asked me what was I doing for my physical education. And I told her I hadn't planned on doing anything. My military background covered that. And she said, I can get you into wheelchair fencing. And I was literally so excited I started bouncing in my chair. And I said, yes, I want to do that.
So I got into wheelchair fencing. I injured my spine in 2011 in a car accident and was at the Shepherd Center for my spinal cord injury rehab. And I was going down into the gym one day to just work out on a Saturday extra on top of my regular physical therapy. And I ran into 2 members of the Shepherd fencing team. And I was kind of like, what are you doing? Because I'm from South Carolina. Fencing isn't really a thing there. So I really legitimately didn't know what they were doing. And so Dennis, one of the fencers there, told me that they were fencing and asked me if I would like to stab my friends. And I said that sounded fun, and that's how I got started.
Hi, my name is Zeljkovic, and I am from Zeljkovic Fencing Academy, club which is in the Philadelphia area. And I'm helping wheelchair fencer in the United States to be a better athlete and better on international competition.
Hi, my name is Sheri. I started fencing roughly 21 years ago after meeting a girl that was on the Atlanta team in 1996 in, of all places, the mall in Louisville, Kentucky. She ran into me almost coming out of a store and invited me to come into fencing. And I just recently graduated college and I was looking for a more inclusive sport. So I said, what the heck, and I tried it, and I came down there and fell in love with it. And I never stopped doing it. I've been fortunate enough to be on 2 U.S. world teams, member of the Paralympics in Athens, Greece, and thoroughly enjoyed the sport for as long as I've been in it. And what it's brought to me, besides the sense of confidence and satisfaction, is the ability to venture and travel to other places throughout the world that I never would have probably had the opportunity to before. So I'm blessed. I've been given plenty of opportunities that others haven't, and I'm proud to have been able to live up to the expectations needed at the time.
My name is Brinson. I've been fencing about 10 years. I was introduced at a sports clinic put on by Methodist Rehabilitation Center in Jackson, Mississippi. It was actually a former Paralympic fencer from Atlanta. Methodist Rehab put on a sports clinic involving fencing. I didn't know anything about it. I'm up for trying anything. I tried it, I loved it, and I've been doing it ever since.
My name is Mario Rodriguez, and I don't have any special titles, although I have been employed off and on as a coach. I fell into wheelchair fencing probably around 1994. I was actually very involved in wheelchair tennis at the time, doing quite well. I was the #1 ranked A player in the country, and I used to go to this place where I lived in Houston, Texas called TIR, Texas Institute for Rehabilitation and Research. And we had this ongoing program where we'd go in and take the patients out and do tennis training with them, just to get them out moving and as part of their therapy. So anyway, I went into Tier one day and I was waiting for my patient to come out, and while I was waiting there was this magazine sitting on the table, and it caught my eye. And it's the Shepherd's Spinal Column, and there's this big glossy picture on the front of this guy in a wheelchair, and it's about wheelchair fencing. So I opened the article up, started reading through the whole thing, and I was like, wow, I gotta check this out, because I used to fence in college. So I had the experience of fencing several years as an able-bodied fencer before starting wheelchair fencing.
Hi, my name is Gretta. I go to Utah Swords Academy in South Salt Lake. How I got into wheelchair fencing is a couple years ago. I had a wheelchair sports camp that was just people in wheelchairs sampling a bunch of different sports, and we tried fencing, and I really liked that, so I got into the Utah Swords Academy, and I've been doing that for about 2.5 years.
I'm Michael Shinholster. I'm from Eagle Fencing Club. I've been fencing for about 6 to 7 years. I'm an A17, and I just medaled in Cadet Men's Épée, and I like wheelchair fencing. So I'd say I got introduced to wheelchair fencing by Dennis Aspey and the Shepherd Center. I can't remember exactly, but I met Dennis and they did wheelchair at my first club. So I did a couple bouts with them, trained with them for a little bit, and then they invited me to come to the Shepherd Center on Saturday to fence with them. And I went there and I got to fence a bunch more people, and that's when I really got more involved in it.
My name is Brandon Smith. I fence out of Utah. I fenced for about 6 years now, and unfortunately I'm a D in foil still, and I'm a C in épée, and I have my E now in saber. But foil is my main weapon, and épée is my second. So I was actually introduced into with the wheelchair fencers at a NAC in Utah, and they needed volunteers for just people around the venue and stuff. And they were saying, okay, I have this job, and then she said they have the wheelchair fencers, and I was like, oh, I want to check that out. Do you get, like, yeah, we need help with the wheelchair. I was like, sweet. Signed up, went there. It was fun, and just watching them and stuff, do everything. I was like, wow, this is like a whole nother level that I didn't really expect. You know, I didn't really know what to expect at all. But man, they were going at it. The whole platform's just rocking and rolling. I mean, they're full force just like anybody else, and just going even more so. I'm like, wow, it's pretty impressive.
So when Shelley first told me about wheelchair fencing, I'm like, we'd never heard of fencing before. And she had volunteered at a wheelchair sports camp, and that's where it was introduced. So when I picked her up one day, Bill, the club manager, was there, and he said, we really wanted to try this. I'm like, okay, we'll try it. So it was a couple weeks later before we actually got there and tried it. And she did it, and she did it a couple times, and she just was out of her comfort zone. And so then when we started going regularly, and she started really doing it, she was quite reserved at first. And then when she started putting that mask on and pulling it down, it was like, oh, okay, I can stab these people and it's okay. So then it became fun. And then it actually helped build confidence in her, because she was, you know, a little shy and reserved when it came to that. It's helped her physically. She's done more exercise. She's worked more on core and things that she needs to work on for herself. And it's been fun to watch her grow, because she's grown emotionally and physically while she's been doing this. And it's a lot of work for the moms, because, you know, we're there and we have to be there and we have to tie shoes and zip clothes, but it's worth it because it's a lot of fun. And then it's fun to watch the able-bodied fencers sit down with her, because they are afraid, what do I do? Or
you know, what do I don't want to hit her because I don't want to hurt her, and then they realize that she's not going to let up on them, so bring it. And we actually have a new foil coach who apologized when he touched and it hit, and she's like, really? It's okay. It's okay to do that. So it's been a lot of fun. We've met a lot of wonderful people. This whole group of the wheelchair fencers, they've just been amazing, and they've just accepted her and us, and it's been just a great experience.